Peace, guys. I hope everybody's doing good. It's Gabe coming in live on this Monday to go over the watch list, the broad market, and then getting into the individual names here on this Monday, July 7th. We kind of had a good idea off market open today that it was probably a tread lightly type of day when you've got that Elon Musk, that Donald Trump, that bickering, that beef going on. News headlines like that can absolutely move the market. And we saw it today. Tesla with a huge gap down to start the day. And, it just wasn't really able to recover. It looked like the type of day where pops were consistently sold into. And you saw it in the tape on the lower time frames there for SPY. But looking at the daily candle here, let's get into the daily candles and just get a big picture idea as to what happened today. It's something we saw coming for a while. Did we see something of this caliber, of this type of strength on the pullback? Maybe not. At one point today, I think we were down, a little over 1% with the gap down plus the sell-off. But we rebounded. We really did rebound. Some buyers found some strength here. We popped up about half the daily wick there. It's hard to say where this goes from here. I'm thankful for a little bit of pullback. We just need to see some retracement here since we've gone straight vertically. And today was a good start for that. Let's see if we can build on that. The Qs, not as strong with the sell-off today in the tech sector, but still a 0.5% drawdown there on decent volume. So something to keep an eye on with the Qs and SPY. We're looking for some more pullback, some more consolidation going forward. Bitcoin, this one is starting to get really tight. This range here is tighter than we're used to seeing on Bitcoin, especially within the last couple weeks here. Right here. To me, that foreshadows a move in Bitcoin in the very near future. Foreshadows a move, a breakout in Bitcoin. This 110 is the level. 110 is the line in the sand right now. If we can start to work our way up, stair step our way up for that 110 break, it could come with some power. It definitely could come with some strength out of that 110. I could visualize something in the way of a retracement of this move right here. An 85 to a 105. I could easily visualize a 20K run in Bitcoin here up to the 125, 120 range. That's just something I could visualize in Bitcoin. So we're keeping an eye on some of the Bitcoin names out there. They're not really setting up yet, but just keep some eye for some Bitcoin to gain traction going forward. SMCI starting to look really appealing to me. I said I was targeting that 45 for entries. I was targeting a pullback to the EMA 20 right there. It's pretty much what we got today. Just a nice retracement. We've got this nice sideways movement here. SMCI. Really, really nice. This is the type of setup where you get rewarded for being patient. You really will. So whenever we start to see that 45 become clear support, maybe a couple more candles, maybe another, maybe they fake us out. We go for something up here. Maybe we come back and even test it again. before we really gain some support and start to form those higher lows there at SMCI. Good looking chart. It's that long shape up. Thoughts pretty much unchanged there on SMCI. We've been covering this one recently. SOUN, SoundHound AI, it showed a lot of strength. And if you go back to that video from last night, I highlighted how that 1050 would be an area that was previous resistance. It could possibly turn support. Today, that's exactly what we saw. Buyers stepped in big time at 1050 and bought this thing up. They really did, guys. So 1050 is the area of interest. If you got a position, I would, be looking at under that for my stop. But also, if you're not in it yet, I think 1050 could pose a great opportunity to get into this thing. You see how we've started to form a little bit of a cup recently. Here's what I'm talking about. Looks very, cup. It looks like a cup to me. The volume matches. The volume is high on both sides. Now maybe we can get that handle. That little 3-day, 4-day period where we just kind of consolidate here between 1138 and 1050 would be a phenomenal look on something like SOUN and could give this thing, A plus setup potential for me. SOUN, it's setting up real nice. Futu, man, I tell you what, guys, this one, like I said, the look on this one is good. This one is hard to trade. And it has a lot to do with the options, the spread on the options. The bid versus the ask is so spread out. Guys, the thing is, this stock didn't used to be this way. I used to trade Futu, with a spread around $5. The bid versus the ask was like $5 to $15 different. Today, the bid versus ask was absolutely ridiculous. We were looking at like $120 on the bid for the calls. That's not something that I position myself in. So this one, it's tough to trade from an option standpoint because of the bid to ask spread there. Today's candle, let's just keep looking at the chart because it is a beautiful chart. And the setup is clearly defined. Today we had a good sell-off off that resistance. We peaked hard and it just couldn't break through 125. The market was shit today. If the market would have been strong today, who knows what that move looks like. But the market just, all in all, wasn't strong enough to propel Futu to that resistance break. However, it still has the look. It still has a good look to it. And for that reason, I'm still keeping it on the watch as what I envision. I envision that move up to 130, 140 in the coming days. RGTI, a kind of surprising strength today. Kind of like SOUN. Buyers were in this thing, guys. Buyers are still aggressive in this market. And it shows with candles like SOUN and RGTI. It really shows. The market sucked today. But they were still buying this thing up. Volume was respectable today. Keep an eye on RGTI to kind of form one of those handles. Couple little inside days, maybe some sideways in the coming days. It's got that little cup and handle look too. So RGTI, interesting chart. SLDP is the one I really wanted to talk about today because we finally got some retracement. Guys, and when you're looking at these things on a daily perspective and we're looking for multiple day moves, you shouldn't get upset when you see a pullback in something like SLDP. When you see your account is red in something like SLDP. Now, if you bought the top up here, if you chased and bought 250 or 240, no, you can't say that. But for those that have been in this and got good positions back here in the $1.90, $2 range, you're not upset to see this thing retrace a little bit and give back a little bit of profits. This is how we trade these multiple day swings. Guys, it's all about, respecting our risk and having our clear lines in the sand. Anything else is just noise. And SLDP is still constructive. This is powerful right here. This channel is powerful. Look at that. Oh, look at those candles. Look at the volume within that ascending triangle. Yeah, I love the pullback today. Does not upset me at all to see SLDP give up 8 or 9%. Like I said, anything we just went over this the other day. Anything here anything in here is incredibly healthy. It might take a week. It might take a few days. It might take a month. It's a handle. But SLDP still has the look. It's still constructive. AISP, some really noteworthy candle today. With a poor market, for something like AISP to hold strong and do it with decent volume, I saw some interest in this name. I saw some buying interest in this name. I like it. I like the look at AISP right here. I like the candle. I like the higher lows. We're starting to infringe up here. We go back 2 years, you can see. $650. That's your line in the sand for resistance. Above that, we could visualize something up here into the 9s, into the 8, 9 range on something like AISP. Respect your risk as always, but this one looks pretty good. And then QS and SPCE, like I said, thoughts still unchanged. These are charts in the making. With the market, if SPY pulls back, these are going to need more time. That's plain and simple. QS was with a pretty interesting candle today. Kind of high and tight on that range from yesterday. But guys, if SPY, QQQ pull back 6-7% this week, which wouldn't be a bad thing, these aren't going to go. SPCE, QS, I have a hard time seeing these things, work out in that type of situation. Just keep them on watch. Tread lightly with the pullback today. Respect your risk like always, and always live to fight another day out here, guys. It's not worth spending all your capital when the market's in a drawback period. We got to stay fresh. We got to keep our capital preserved. We've got to hold on to every little bit of capital in our account so we can use it when the markets are hot. That's it, guys. It's late. Let's get some rest. Let's come back into it tomorrow and stick to the plan. Peace, everybody. Have a great evening.